Now, there was one native group that actually resisted. Well, I shouldn't say one native. There were several native groups that resisted. There was one that resisted successfully. An example of non-successful resistance was a chief named Chief Blackhawk, who led his tribe and some other tribes back into Illinois to try to take it back from the U.S. government. Keep in mind, Illinois had been a state for a while, so this was sort of this was something that was almost certainly never going to work. And there was a big battle between his people and the U.S. Army, and most of his people were killed in the battle. So sadly, Chief Blackhawk was not able to get his land back in Illinois or his people. But there was another native group called the Seminoles. The Seminoles were a nation, which means a collection of tribes that lived in central and southern Florida. Well, actually, at the time, they lived in all of Florida. They refused to move to Oklahoma. And when the U.S. Army went into Florida to try to force them off, the Seminole fought. And they fought a 7-year guerrilla war against the U.S. Army. Interestingly, the Seminole teamed up with a lot of escaped slaves. Keep in mind, Florida was not part of the United States for a long time, so for many years, if you were a slave in the South and trying to escape, it was a lot easier to escape to Florida than to try to get to the North. So in Florida, you had a lot of former slaves who decided to help the Seminole because they figured if this becomes part of the United States, we're going to be returned to slavery. The last thing we want to do is be slaves again. So the Seminole, the escaped slaves, they fought a very violent guerrilla war where they used hit-and-run tactics, ambushes against the U.S. Army. A lot of battles were fought in the swamps, and in 7 years, 1,500 U.S. soldiers had died. And after 7 years, the U.S. government decides to quit and stop fighting the Seminole and just let them stay. And interestingly, the Seminole are the only tribe in history to successfully defeat the U.S. Army in a war. But unfortunately for the Seminole, the wars weakened them so much that their culture eventually just fades away. Many Seminole leave Florida and go to live elsewhere. That's all I want to say for section 2. You'll read about this in your book and get more detail. You'll answer some questions related to this, and there's also a link to a short video clip related to the Trail of Tears. So do those things. Get them done by Thursday. Thursday there'll be another video lesson posted, and some questions probably, and maybe some video links. Great job staying connected. I notice a lot more people are getting on. More people are completing the questions. So that's a good sign. And I've noticed that people who have been doing the questions are still doing them. So keep connected, keep learning. This isn't ideal. We would probably all rather just be back in school. But this is the best we can do for now. So stay connected, stay safe, and see you next time.